Hello and welcome to the Watering Hole. Thanks for checking out this clip. Don't forget to like and subscribe because that'll make the baby Jesus cry, and I know how much you guys love making the baby Jesus cry. Hey, Cirrus.
Hey, Rhino.
Did you know that Elon Musk is technically Canadian?
Are we talking about Elon Musk's and the petition to get rid of his citizenship?
We are talking about Elon Musk and the petition to get rid of his citizenship. Why you gotta spoil everything like that?
Because I also keep up with the news to a degree.
Stop it. Stop.
I'm sorry that it's
Sometimes
my
I
job
want things to be a
too.
surprise. So yeah, here's the petition.
I apologize that it's my job as well. I'm sorry.
What did we just get?
I'll never
hydrate.
keep up with politics again.
I don't believe you.
Oh no!
I don't believe you.
Hey, I did a decent-ish job of keeping my head in the dirt for about 2 months. And
Yeah.
it's a very, very brief. It didn't work very well.
Yeah. Okay. So the way petitions work in Canada is it's a similar system to what you have in the States, except I think our threshold for it being addressed by the government is a lot lower. So anyone can write a petition. Any Canadian resident or citizen can write a petition. And then when 5 other people sign on to endorse it, like 5 other citizens or residents sign on to endorse it, then it starts, you've got to hunt around for a member of parliament to approve it. And then once that happens, it gets put up on this website. And when it breaks 500 signatures, it gets put on the agenda for discussion in front of parliament. And yeah, there's a few more steps to it than that. You can't just like do frivolous petitions. There's a vetting process and everything, but that's the bird's eye view of the process. And so this petition went live on February 20th.
Yeah.
And so, okay, so backing it up, if you didn't know, Elon Musk is a dual citizen between Canada and the US. And I had heard that before, but it always slips my mind. So like when I heard it again, I was like, he's a Canadian? Fuck. Yeah. So he's got dual citizenship, and people want him to not anymore. So this was initiated by Qualia Reid from Nanaimo, British Columbia. Thank you for that, Qualia Reid. And it was endorsed by Charlie Angus, the NDP member of parliament for Timmins and James Bay, which NDP are our progressive party. They're basically the only party in parliament that actually does anything important anymore.
Mm-hmm.
So they're like, if the United States wasn't a 2-party system, AOC would probably be a member of the NDP rather than the Democrats.
But because we have a 2-party system, you just kind of have to go with the centrist libs and then stir up shit.
Yeah. And so within, what's it been, 6 days? Less than a week? It has, where are we? There's a number on here somewhere. Petition details. I don't know. It's over 300. Oh, there we go. 308,166 signatures in a week. And remember,
Jesus.
the threshold to be brought up in Parliament is 500. So it's going to Parliament, baby.
Well past that threshold.
And it's active until June. So I think our Parliament is prorogued right now, which means they ain't doing shit.
So what do you think the likelihood of his citizenship getting revoked actually is?
So it's hard to say, because honestly, like I could see the Liberal Party doing it, but they're kind of like they're like the Democrats in that they're the establishment. They don't really do a whole lot. They kind of run on the whole like, oh, you don't want a conservative, do you, sort of thing. Like not quite to the degree that you see in the States with the like, oh, I'm not Trump, so you must vote for me. Not quite to the same extent, but that is a good chunk of it. Like basically, so in the riding that riding's like a district. In the riding that I'm in, We always go NDP in the provincial elections, but then the federal elections almost always go either liberal or conservative. We haven't had an NDP member for our riding since, I want to say it was the late 90s. Fennec's asking for a link to the petition. You have to be Canadian to sign it, but I did just put the link in the chat.
And I feel like, and this is a thing that's, I guess, relevant to me because I do plan on running. I feel like just saying I'm not conservative, it stopped working a while ago, and not just because there's a lot of lefties that hear that and they're like, that's not enough for me.
Yeah.
But I feel like there's plenty of people on the right that go, I mean, and who are you trying to convince there, buddy?
Yeah. It's like, yeah, you know what? So like what I was kind of getting at with my whole saying, like my riding hasn't gone NDP for federal in like 30 years, is that for the federal elections, I do vote Liberal, even though I'd rather have an NDP rep. But for the provincial elections, and we're having an election tomorrow, and I voted by mail today, and I voted NDP because Wayne Gates is our representative, and he's been our representative for a long time, and he's really good at what he does. He stands for all the right things, and as my children have pointed out to me, he looks like the Lorax.
So he speaks for the trees.
Speaks for the trees, and the NDP party's color is orange. So the orange guy that looks like the Lorax speaks for the trees.
You know, it's almost poetic in that way. It is almost poetic in that way.
Yeah. So, yeah. Yeah. So, yeah, basically our system's better.
Well, I'm glad to know that somebody has a better system than America for handling not only elections, but petitions.
So I remember being in civics class, they would talk about we actually did learn about the American system and the Canadian system in our Canadian civics class. And it was like under the umbrella of like learning the pros and cons of the various systems.
Yeah.
And, yeah, at the time, like it seemed reasonable. Like, no, one system is not obviously inherently better than the other one. They both have their pros. They both have their cons. I think at this point, it's like, it'd be a lot harder for someone like Trump to take over here. A lot harder. Because we don't vote for the prime minister. We vote for our own representatives. And then whichever party has the most seats is the leader of that party who is elected by the party.
Yeah,
that's to be prime minister. So like it's like a double democracy thing almost, because like they have to win all the seats and then they have to win their party's votes. So like in order to actually take over, like what happened in the States in 2016 with Trump just like running almost as a joke. And then, whoops, we accidentally elected him. Like, that just wouldn't happen because he would never ascend to party leadership.
Yeah, on the other hand, though, there is something to be said about when a party itself gets incredibly corrupt. But at the same time, Trump is now, after winning his election, part and parcel to the corruption in his party. And accelerated a lot of it to begin with. So there's a part of me that wants to bring that up, but almost as like a pseudo devil's advocate thing, not in any real way, because the end result of our system has been Trump.
Yeah. Well, and there's also
the end result previously was Bush, and the end result previously was Reagan and Nixon.
Yeah, so Scott D says it didn't stop Stephen Harper from trying to be king. Yeah, Stephen Harper did a lot of damage, but you know what? Would have been a lot worse if we had the American system.